the bank are pledging in return. Bloomberg has requested details of the Fed lending under the U.S. Freedom of Information Act and has filed a separate lawsuit in an effort to find out where the money has gone. Now, that was 5 weeks ago. Yesterday, the Federal Reserve announced, no, we will not disclose where the money went. The American people are on the hook for this money, but the Federal Reserve banking system doesn't answer to Congress or anyone else, including Bloomberg or the American people, essentially. It's unbelievable in America, and the average American people are unaware of this. The news just glosses it over. I mean, what's your thoughts on this, Brian?
It reminds me, of course, of the panic in 1907, everything leading to the Federal Reserve formation in 1913. I mean, it's just these elite banks, they create a panic, they call in these huge loans, and of course all the smaller peon banks can't, they just don't have the money to cover it, so they wind up all going bankrupt. You have this massive consolidation of power. Of course, that happened from 1907 to 1913. You know, you had J.P. Morgan, the Rothschilds, put thousands of banks right out of business overnight, creating panic, calling in these loans. And that's precisely what's happening again. We're just having this massive consolidation further of elitist control, power into the hands of these international bankers, which pretty much are going to wind up owning every single piece of property on the planet at the rate they're going.
Let's go ahead and go to our phones as we continue our discussion. If you'd like to call in and give us your opinion on the bailout, the upcoming auto workers bailout that will soon come to fruition, I guarantee you, whether it's George W. Bush or whether it's Obama, feel free to call in 704-873-1400 or 336-499-0681 is our Davie County number. We'd like to hear from you. Any of the clips that we play here on the air you can find on our website, realnewsradio.com. Sometimes we just play sections of them, so if you want to see the whole thing, you can go there. And our email is onair@realnewsradio.com. I heard one commentator on the news saying that Bush would do something to bail out the auto workers so that it couldn't be said that the Big Three collapsed on his watch. Was he really concerned with saving face at this point? You know, I mean,
it's a little late, isn't it?
It's just a little bit late to try to save face at this point with what's happened in his 8 years of administration. But and then from all indications, what we're seeing coming from the Obama administration, the upcoming administration, the change that we're going to see is just musical chairs. You know, they're just going to change seats. Obama said he was going to bring us all together, and it looks like he is. We're going to meet at a bread line. Also, as we were discussing, the economist Nouriel Roubini has stated that we're in the middle of a very severe recession that is going to continue through all of 2009. Now, this gentleman has made a lot of predictions, and they've come to fruition. He's very well respected in his field. The worst recession in the past 50 years is the bursting of the huge leveraged up credit bubble. There's no going back, and there is no bottom to it. It was excessive in everything from subprime to prime, from credit cards to student loans, from corporate bonds to municipal bonds, you name it, and it's all reversing right now in a very, very massive way. At this point, it's not just a U.S. recession. All of the advanced economies are at the beginning of a hard landing, and emerging markets, beginning with China, are in severe slowdown. So we're having a global recession, and it's becoming worse. Things are going to be awful for the everyday people, says Roubini. U.S. GDP growth is going to be negative through the end of 2009, and the recovery in 2010 and 2011, if there is one, is going to be so weak that a growth rate of 1% to 1.5%, it's going to feel like a recession. I see the unemployment rate peaking at around 9% by 2010. The value of homes have already fallen by 25%. In my view, home prices are going to fall by another 15% before bottoming out in 2010. And he goes on to say, for the next 12 months, I would stay away from risky assets, I would stay away from stock market, I would stay away from commodities, and I would stay away from credit, both high yield and high grade. I would stay in cash or cash-like instruments such as short-term or longer-term government bonds. It's better to stay in things with low returns rather than to lose 50% of your wealth. And as we're going to go to the phones. We got a phone call. We missed you. If you'd like to call back, our phone numbers are 873-1400 and 336-499-0681. We'd like to get your opinions on this if you'd like to call in. Brian, what do you make of that? What do you see in 2009? Do you have any predictions you'd like to make?
I hate to make any direct predictions, but I mean, I really don't see much in the realm of being positive in our future. I mean, just, again, I mean, it's just a precipitous decline. Our dollar is in free fall. We just print dollars by the trillions. I mean, the monetary base increase is 75% in the past several months. I mean, it's insanity. We have a phone call.
Hey, you're on the Real News.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing today?
Pretty good, Bill Anderson.
Yes, sir.
I heard your comments on this bailout. I'd like to register my penny's worth. I have been 100% opposed to this bailout. And what bothers me bad, nobody in Washington, the president-elect or whoever, is telling anybody how this money is going to be paid back and who is going to pay this money back. But you know, they say that history repeats itself. I'd like for the people listening in to go to the library and get the book, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire. It at one time was the greatest and strongest nation on the top side of the earth. What happened to it? Its senators and the Caesars, they split the Roman Empire into total bankruptcy. Couldn't pay their troops. Had to pull all their troops in from the foreign countries, which they lost all of that territory. It kicked the Roman Empire down to a third world economy. And some of the economists are saying that before America gets through this recession, it's going to put it down to a third world economy. And you know, the Roman Empire is a perfect map, blueprint of what the Congress, Senate, the president-elect is doing to basically the middle class and poor people in America right now. And it's sad for this country.
Did you ever think you'd see a...
The master, during the last 2 years of Clinton administration, said that the recession had started. He didn't know when it would get here, but that it was coming, and that when the recession got here, it would be far, far worse than 19 and 29. So our educated people in Washington, Ron Paul included, that you have just played the clip on, they had long, Democrats and Republicans, they had long warning that this was on the way. Now, the big problem is now, Obama, Bush, congressmen, senators, they're not telling me anything as to how they're going to bring us out of this recession. I don't think they've got the brains to know how. I wouldn't let people in Washington feed my beagle. They'd probably give him rat poison rather than feeding him dog food. That's how much sense I consider they've got. I'll get off of here now.
All right, sir, thank you. I'd just like to comment a few things on what Mr. Anderson said. In my opinion, our leadership, Congress, of course the presidents, have absolutely no intention whatsoever of truly getting us out of this, because they don't represent us. Again, they represent elitist bankers, and that is precisely what they're doing. They're representing them, they're giving them everything they want. We look at who's benefiting most out of this, and of course it's them. And to go